Hey guys, relax your body now. Feel your breath slow in and out, like a gentle tide moving in, then leaving with ease. Let your shoulders loosen, your jaw soften, your mind begin to float, just slightly, like a feather on the breeze. There is nothing you need to do, no place you need to go, only here, only now, breathing, resting, letting calm fill you. Get comfortable. Take a moment, like the video, and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Our story today begins in a place of stone and silence, where time moves not by clocks or bells alone, but by shadows. It begins inside a medieval monastery, tucked away beyond low hills and quiet farmland, where the walls are thick, the corridors cool, and the world outside feels far away. At the heart of this monastery lies a cloister garden, a square of open sky framed by stone arches, where pale gravel crunches softly under sandaled feet, and herbs grow in neat, humble rows. There is rosemary here, and sage, and lavender, their scents, faint, gentle, stirred only when a breeze passes through. In the center of the garden stands a simple sundial, nothing ornate, just a flat circle of worn stone, etched with quiet markings, and a slender metal rod rising upward, casting its shadow patiently across the surface. Each day, this shadow becomes the monastery's slow heartbeat, and beside it, standing very still, is a monk. He is not young, nor very old. His robe hangs loosely from his shoulders, softened by years of wear and careful washing. His hands are folded gently, one resting over the other, as though they too have learned stillness. This monk measures time with shadows, not because he must, but because he listens. In these early centuries of the medieval world, clocks as we know them do not yet exist, and even water clocks are rare and imprecise. So the monks learn to read the sun. They divide their days into hours of prayer, called the canonical hours: matins, lauds, prime, terce, sext, none, vespers, and compline. Each one arrives not with urgency, but with quiet certainty. As the shadow slides, slowly, inevitably, across stone, the monk breathes in, cool morning air filling his chest, and breathes out, watching the shadow shift, no faster than a leaf drifting to the ground. Around him the monastery rests in near silence. Somewhere beyond the cloister walls, a hearth crackles faintly, embers glowing low, their warmth lingering from the night before. A distant door closes with a muted thud, wood meeting wood, and then stillness returns. A breeze moves through the arches, lifting the edges of the monk's robe, rustling ivy along the stone walls, leaf against leaf, soft, reassuring. The monk does not hurry the sun. He never could. Instead, he aligns himself with its pace. This is how medieval monks believed peace was found, not by bending time, but by stepping into it. The shadow reaches a familiar mark. Soon it will be time for prayer, but for now, there is only waiting and watching. The monk lowers himself onto a smooth stone bench, its surface cool beneath him, and closes his eyes. He listens to his breath, slow, steady, to the birds nesting in the monastery eaves, their quiet chirrs and rustlings, to the distant sound of wind brushing over fields. Each sound layers gently, like a blanket being drawn up around the senses. As you listen to it, you may notice your own breathing matching this calm rhythm, in and out, effortless. In medieval times, monks believed that silence itself was a form of prayer, a way of listening for what could not be spoken. So the monk sits, letting silence speak. The sun climbs higher imperceptibly, and the shadow moves again. Stone warmed by light, air warmed by breath. When the monk finally rises, it is unhurried, as though time itself has lifted him gently to his feet. He walks the perimeter of the cloister, sandals brushing gravel, step by step. Each footfall is deliberate, grounding, real. He pauses beside the herb beds, touches a leaf between thumb and finger, releasing a faint fragrance. In the infirmary, these herbs will soothe aches, calm fevers, and ease troubled sleep. The monk smiles faintly, knowing how closely rest and healing are entwined. The shadow on the sundial reaches its mark. Soon, a bell will ring, calling the brothers to prayer. But until then, there is space, and in that space, the monk stands once more beside the sundial, watching time drift, just as you are drifting now, breath by breath, moment by moment. And as the garden holds its quiet, and the shadow continues its slow journey, you may feel yourself sinking deeper into rest, safe, unhurried, held gently by the passing of time. The afternoon light grows mellow, no longer bright, no longer sharp. It spills into the cloister garden at a gentler angle, stretching shadows longer, softer. The monk opens his eyes again, slowly, as if waking from a peaceful dream. He notices how the sundial's shadow has changed character, not just position, but texture. Where it was once crisp, it now blurs slightly at the edges, as though time itself is exhaling. This, he knows, is the hour of none, the quiet turning toward evening. In medieval belief, this hour was thought to be especially reflective, a pause between effort and rest. The monk rises and walks the garden path, his pace unmeasured, free from urgency. Gravel whispers beneath his sandals, a sound as old as the monastery itself. Along the wall, shadows of leaves ripple, moving like slow water. He stops beneath an arch and looks outward through a narrow opening. Beyond the walls, the world hums faintly. A cart creaks in the distance, wooden wheels turning slowly. Somewhere, a shepherd calls to his flock, his voice carried softly on the breeze. Life continues, steady, unhurried. The monk breathes in the scent of stone warmed by sun, a smell unique to old places, familiar, comforting. He returns to the sundial once more. This instrument, so simple, so patient. He remembers learning that sundials must be aligned carefully, set according to the earth itself, or they will speak falsely. So too, the monk was taught, must the heart be aligned, with breath, with body, with the present moment. The shadow creeps onward. The monk sits again, hands resting loosely in his lap. His thoughts drift, but do not tangle. He thinks of the brothers preparing the evening meal, vegetables chopped softly, pots simmering over low hearth fires. In medieval monasteries, meals were simple: bread, broth, herbs from the garden. Eating was slow, mindful, another form of prayer. The monk's stomach stirs faintly, not with hunger, but with anticipation of warmth. A breeze passes through the garden, cooler now, brushing his cheeks. Leaves rustle, their sound deepening as evening approaches. The sun lowers, and the shadow lengthens. Soon it will be time for vespers, the prayer of twilight. The monk listens. There is a softness to this hour, a feeling of things loosening their grip. As daylight fades, the world exhales. You may notice your own body responding, your limbs heavier, your breath deeper. You do not need to follow every image. Let them blur, like the shadow's edge. The bell rings again, lower than before. Its sound richer. It rolls through the monastery, through fields, through you. The monk stands, bows once more to the sundial. as though thanking it. Inside the chapel, candles are lit, their flames trembling briefly before settling into steady glow. The brothers' voices rise again, soft, even. Outside, the sky shifts through shades of amber, rose, deepening blue. When the prayer ends, darkness has begun its gentle approach. The monk returns to the garden one last time. The sundial now lies mostly in shadow itself, its markings fading from view. Soon it will rest until morning. The monk understands this rhythm well, that even time must sleep. He places his hand on the stone once more, feeling the day's warmth lingering above him. The first stars appear, quiet, steady, and as night settles fully, you may feel yourself sinking even deeper, safe held, unhurried. The bell does not ring yet, it never rushes. The monk remains by the sundial, eyes half lowered now, not watching the shadow directly, but sensing it. In this monastery, time is felt more than seen. The stone beneath his feet has been worn smooth by centuries of slow footsteps, each monk before him passing through the same garden, under the same sky, guided by the same sun. He inhales again, and notices how the air has warmed slightly, a soft change, easy to miss unless one is paying attention. This, he has learned, is how life speaks, in small shifts, quiet movements. Beyond the cloister walls, fields stretch outward, golden in summer, silvered with frost in winter. The monk remembers walking those fields as a boy, before the monastery walls shaped his days, before time became something to sit with, instead of chase. Back then, he had known time only as urgency, as hunger, as work to be done before darkness fell. Now, time feels like a companion, never pressing, never pulling, only walking beside him. The shadow slips forward, just a finger's width. In medieval monasteries, this movement was trusted more than any mechanism, because the sun could not lie, and shadows could not hurry. The monk opens his eyes fully, and notices a small bird perched along the cloister roof. Its feathers ruffled gently by the breeze. It tilts its head, as though listening. Perhaps it too is measuring time, by warmth, by light, by the steady comfort of being alive. The monk's lips curve into the faintest smile. Somewhere inside the stone corridors, a brother stirs, fabric whispering softly as robes are adjusted. Another breath. The garden holds them all. Lavender nods in the breeze, its purple muted by sun and age. Bees move slowly between blossoms, unconcerned with hours, only with now. The monk rests his palm against the sundial's edge, feeling the stone's warmth, absorbed quietly into his skin. He remembers being taught as a novice that the sundial was not merely a tool, but a reminder that light always moves, that nothing stays fixed, and that peace comes from moving gently with it. The shadow reaches the line for sext, the midday prayer. Soon the bell will sound, its low voice traveling through halls and hearts. But even that sound, when it comes, will not break the calm. It will simply rest upon it as the monk waits. You may notice your own body sinking further, muscles loosening without effort, breath becoming softer, quieter. Your mind does not need to follow every word. It can drift, just as the shadow drifts. The monk hears the bell now, far away, a single note, deep and round. It rolls across the stone, through the arches, settling into the garden like a gentle wave. He bows his head slightly, acknowledging the hour. Around him, doors open softly, footsteps approach, sandals brushing gravel. The brothers gather, their presence felt more than seen. Together, they move toward the chapel. Inside, the air is cool, thick stone holding centuries of prayer. Candles flicker along the walls, their flames small, steady. The monk takes his place, hands folded again, breath calm. Their voices rise together, not loud, not urgent, but even, measured. Each syllable falls into place, like stones in a path. The prayer flows and fades. When it ends, silence returns. Welcoming, the monk remains still, even after the others depart. He understands something that took many years to learn, that stillness is not empty, it is full of breath, of warmth, of quiet life continuing. Eventually, he returns to the garden. The sun has shifted again, the shadow now pointing somewhere new. Afternoon stretches gently ahead. He sits once more on the stone bench, closing his eyes, and as the monastery settles back into its slow rhythm, you too may feel yourself drifting further. There is nothing to anticipate, nothing to prepare for, only this moment, soft, unfolding, like the shadow, moving just enough to carry you toward rest. Night settles fully over the monastery, not like a curtain dropping, but like a blanket being drawn up, slowly, carefully. The garden now rests in moonlight, silver and pale, edges softened. The sundial is quiet, no longer measuring, only remembering. The monk moves through the cloister with a lantern, its flames small, steady, protected by glass and patience. Each step echoes gently, stone answering stone. Inside the refectory, the evening meal has ended, bowls rinsed, wooden tables wiped clean. The scent of bread lingers, warm, faint. The monk pauses by the hearth, embers glowing softly, crackling now and then, a sound older than language. He warms his hands, feeling the day release its last tension. In medieval monasteries, Compline is the final prayer, spoken before sleep. It is a prayer of protection, of surrender, of trust in the night. The monk walks once more into the chapel. Candles flicker, casting slow-moving shadows along the walls. The brothers gather quietly, their presence gentle, reassuring. Voices rise one last time, low, unrushed. When the final words fade, silence returns, deep and welcoming. The monk bows his head. From this moment until morning, speech will be minimal, thoughts allowed to settle. He returns to his cell. Small, simple, a narrow bed, a wooden stool, a shelf with a single book. He removes his robe, folding it carefully, placing it within reach, lies down, the mattress yielding slightly beneath him. The stone walls hold the cool of night, balanced by the warmth of breath. Through a small window, moonlight spills across the floor. The monk listens to the faint wind outside, to distant owls, to the quiet rhythm of his own heart. This is the hour when time disappears. No shadows, no measurements, only rest. And as the monk's breathing deepens, steady even, you may find yourself drifting further to your body, knowing exactly how to rest, how to let go. There is nothing left to follow, nothing to hold on to, just the calm continuity of night, carrying you gently onward. The monastery sleeps, the garden sleeps, the sundial sleeps, and so may you. Before sleep fully takes him, the monk becomes aware of something gentle, not a thought, not a sound, but a sound, a sense of being carried by the same rhythm that moved the shadow across the stone. In medieval teachings, sleep was not seen as an ending, but as a quiet crossing from one form of awareness to another. The monk's breath slows further, each inhale shallow and easy, each exhale long, unburdened. The stone walls around him seem to soften, as if listening. Outside, clouds drift across the moon, light dimming, then returning. This slow dance of light and dark mirrors the sundial's work by day, time continuing, even without observation. The monk dreams. In his dream, he stands again in the cloister garden, But the sundial is different. It glows faintly, as though remembering every day it has known. Each mark on its surface holds a memory, a prayer spoken, a footstep taken, a breath released. He does not touch it. He does not need to. The shadow moves without sun now, guided by something deeper. In the dream, time is no longer something to follow. It is something to float within. The monk feels weightless, as if the ground supports him without effort. He understands, not in words, but in feeling. That rest is not absence, it is presence, quiet and complete. The dream fades gently, like mist dissolving in morning light, and the monk sleeps. Hours pass, unmeasured. Somewhere, the earth turns, the sky shifts. Long before dawn, a pale hint of light touches the horizon. Birds stir softly. The monastery breathes again. But none of this needs attention yet. For now, sleep remains deep, safe, undisturbed. And if your mind drifts, that is perfect. If your awareness fades, even better. You are allowed to rest completely. Time will continue without you, just as it did for the monk. Shadows will move, light will return. But for this moment, there is only stillness, only breath, only rest. The night deepens, thick and velvety, as though the world itself has closed its eyes. The monk sleeps on, his breathing slow and even, rising, falling, like the tide against a distant shore. In the cloister garden, the sundial rests under the open sky, cool now, its warmth given back to the day. Dew gathers softly on stone, each droplet forming without effort, without sound. A faint breeze moves through the arches, not enough to disturb, only enough to remind the garden it is alive. In medieval belief, the hours of the night were watched over by unseen guardians, angels, saints, or simply the steady order of creation. The monk trusted this, and so, his sleep is deep. Time passes, not counted, not marked. Eventually the darkness thins, almost imperceptibly. A cool blue begins to seep into the sky, softening the black. Birds shift in their nests, one wing brushing another. The monk stirs just slightly, not awake, not yet. His body senses the change, as it always has. This is how mornings arrived before alarms, before urgency. The world whispered itself awake. A single bird calls, a low, gentle note, then another. Breath deepens. The monk turns onto his side, the mattress creaking faintly beneath him. Light touches the stone floor of his cell, a pale line, quiet as breath. He opens his eyes. Slowly, there is no rush. Morning prayer will come when it comes. He sits up, feet touching the cool floor, grounding, real. He wraps his robe around himself, the fabric familiar, comforting. Outside, the cloister waits. When he steps into the garden, the air is fresh, cool, alive with possibility. The sundial stands ready. Soon the shadow will return. But for now, there is only light, new and gentle. The monk stands quietly, breathing in the morning, and as the day prepares to begin again, you may remain where you are, resting, floating. You do not need to rise with the sun. You do not need to measure time. The monk will do that for you. You can stay here wrapped in calm, breathing softly, and when sleep comes again, let it just as gently, just as naturally. Morning does not arrive all at once. It never does here. It unfolds, layer by layer. The sky lightens softly, from deep blue to pale silver to a gentle wash of gold. The monk remains still in the garden, allowing the day to come to him. This is how the monastery has always awakened, without commands, without sharp edges, just presence. The sundial waits patiently, its surface cool beneath the open sky. Soon, a shadow will return, thin at first, barely there. The monk knows this moment well, the moment when time begins again. But he does not anticipate it. He breathes. In medieval thought, breath itself was sacred, a reminder that life moves through us without instruction. The monk places his palm against his chest, feels the rise, the fall, nothing forced, nothing withheld. A bird hops along the cloister edge, pausing, listening. Somewhere, a bell rope shifts slightly, not yet ringing, just waiting. The monk walks the garden path once more, slow, unmeasured. Gravel answers his steps, softly. He pauses by the sundial, and for a moment, the shadow appears. So faint, it could be mistaken for imagination, but it is there. Time has returned. The monk nods, a quiet greeting. Soon the rhythm of the day will unfold again. Prayer, work, rest, but none of that needs to be held right now, because you are still resting. You do not need to follow the monk into morning. You can remain here, in the space between words, between breaths, where nothing is required. The shadow will move whether or not it is watched. The sun will rise whether or not it is named, and you can sleep, deeper, softer, as though wrapped in stone that protects, and light that warms without waking. Let the monk tend to time. You are free to drift, free to rest, free to let go. The monastery continues its gentle cycle, but you are no longer required to follow it. Think of this place now as something distant, like a memory seen through half-closed eyes. Stone walls breathing in the warmth of the sun, cool again in shadow, always steady. The monk moves through his day, but his movements grow softer in your awareness, less distinct, like footsteps fading down a long corridor. The sundial remains in the garden, shadows sliding, patient, faithful, yet you do not need to watch it anymore. Your own sense of time loosens, minutes stretching, or dissolving entirely. Breath flows without instruction, your body knowing exactly what to do. In hypnotic rest, the mind is allowed to float, to wander gently, or to sink. You may notice spaces between thoughts, longer now, wider. Those spaces are safe, comfortable. In the monastery, midday passes, then afternoon. Light shifts across stone, unnoticed, unjudged. The monk pauses again by the sundial, but he does not linger. Time does not need supervision, and neither does your rest. If sounds drift in from the world around you, they can simply pass through, never pulling you back. Like wind moving through an open archway, your body grows heavier, supported, held. The muscles of your face soften completely, the space behind your eyes relaxing. Breathing slows even further. In medieval monasteries, it was believed that true rest allowed the soul to realign, quietly, naturally, no effort required. Just like this, the monk's world fades to background. The garden, the stone, the sky, all becoming distant, blurred. What remains is calm, a deep even silence. If sleep comes now, let it take you gently. If you hover at the edge, that is perfect too. There is nothing to finish, nothing to complete. Time will continue on its own. Shadows will move, light will return, and you will rest. Now, the story loosens its shape even more. Words arrive more slowly, with wider spaces between them, like footsteps in fresh snow, soft, unhurried. The monastery is still there, somewhere far away, but it no longer asks for your attention. The monk, the sundial, the garden, they continue quietly on their own. As all things do, your awareness turns inward, not focused, not searching, simply resting. Breath flows in, cool, easy. Breath flows out, warm, long. Each exhale carries you a little deeper, a little heavier. Your body feels safely anchored, supported from beneath, as if the earth itself is holding you in hypnotic rest. There is often a gentle sense of sinking, not falling, never falling, just settling, like dust drifting onto still water, becoming part of the surface. Time has no edges here, no beginning, no end, only a calm, continuous now. If images appear, let them soften, blur at the edges. If thoughts arise, let them float past, without meaning. The monk once learned that the deepest prayers were the ones never spoken. The same is true of rest. The deepest rest needs no effort. The sundial's shadow moves somewhere, but you do not need to know where. The sun rises, sets, days pass, nights return, all without your involvement. Your only task, if it can even be called that, is to rest, breathing, slow, steady. There is a feeling now of being gently enclosed, like being inside thick stone walls that block out noise, block out urgency. Only calm remains. Your eyelids feel heavy, relaxed, your jaw slack, tongue resting easily. The space between breaths grows wider, comfortable, safe. If sleep has already come, these words will simply fade. If you are still listening, that is perfectly fine. You are exactly where you need to be. The monk's world has become a distant echo, a reminder that time can be trusted, that nothing must be forced, that rest arrives when it is welcomed. And now, there is nothing more to follow, nothing more to imagine, only drifting, only softness, only sleep. There is a gentle hush here, a space where words barely form, and meaning is no longer needed. The monastery has faded into feeling, stone becoming steadiness, light becoming warmth. The monk, if he is still there at all, is only a sense of calm presence, like a distant bell that has already finished ringing. Nothing echoes anymore. Your breathing continues, soft, automatic, in and out. Each breath moves on its own, no guidance required. Your body knows how to sleep. It has always known. Muscles rest completely now, even the small ones you rarely notice, around the eyes, behind the ears, along the spine. The mind drifts into wide open quiet. No thoughts need completing, no images need holding, just an endless, gentle, dark, comfortable, safe. If you were to notice anything at all, it might be the sense of floating, not upward, not downward, just held, as if wrapped in thick night air, like velvet, soft against the skin. Time has no meaning here. The sundial, the shadow, the sun, all of them rest now, just as you do. There is no next moment to prepare for, no sound to wait for, only this deep, continuous calm. And if sleep has already taken you, these words will simply dissolve. If not, they will grow quieter, more distant, until even the sound of my voice becomes part of the silence. Nothing to follow, nothing to do, only rest, only stillness, only sleep. The words grow fewer now, as if they, too, are becoming sleepy. Long pauses stretch gently, like quiet meadows at dawn. If you notice the space between sounds, rest there. That space is soft, safe, unlimited. Your breath continues, steady, natural, in and out. Even that may begin to fade from awareness, and that is perfectly all right. The monastery exists now only as a feeling, a deep sense of order and calm, like knowing the sun will rise without needing to watch it. The monk no longer measures time. He has set it down, and you have set everything down as well. The body sinks fully into rest, supported from every side. Nothing pulls, nothing presses. The mind opens, then softens, then becomes quiet as stone at night, as quiet as shadows before dawn. There is nothing more coming, no next image, no next idea, only this gentle, endless rest. If sleep hasn't already claimed you, it will, without effort, without notice, like a door closing without a sound. And now, even these words begin to disappear, fading, slowing, until there is only sleep. The quiet stretches, wide, soft words arrive only as faint echoes, then drift away again. Breathing happens somewhere in the background, so gentle, it barely asks to be noticed. Your body rests completely, as if it has found the exact position it was searching for. Nothing needs adjustment, nothing needs attention. The monastery, the monk, the sundial, they have all faded into the same calm darkness, no longer separate, no longer distinct. Only a sense of being held remains, held by night, by stillness, by rest. Thoughts do not form here. They dissolve before they can take shape. Time no longer stretches or moves. It simply is, and even that sense gently disappears. If sleep has not already taken you, it will now, softly, inevitably, like sinking into warm water, without a ripple. There is no ending to notice, no moment to mark, just the quiet continuation of rest, and then nothing at all.